What is up, everyone? Welcome to Dead with My Friends podcast. As always, I am your co-host, Steve.
And I'm your co-host, Nick.
And this is episode 36. And on this episode, we are actually going to be doing a year-end review. So we hope you enjoy. So, Nick, we originally had planned a holiday horror release for the episode of December, but it is the holidays, it's a busy time of the year, and we just thought, let's do a little mini episode where we wrap up the cool shit that we did this year with the merch drops, vending, some movies that were released that we enjoyed, maybe some that we didn't enjoy, and some releases on physical media that we were very anticipated for.
Yeah, man. 2024. I was thinking about this last night, how I really wanted to approach this episode, how I wanted to approach talking about the movies of 2024, because initially I wanted to say that I didn't think that there was really any good movies that came out this year. But then again, I can't speak on that because I haven't seen every movie that came out in 2024. But I will say it was a bit of a letdown year for me in regards to movies that came out in the theaters. I don't know if you necessarily agree with that.
Yeah, I would say it wasn't maybe the strongest year for horror.
The strongest.
Except for like obviously, and I haven't seen it, but Terrifier 3 kicked ass in the box office, and I'm really happy because it's the highest grossing unrated film ever made.
Hats off to those dudes. That's
a big win.
They're killing it, man. They're killing it. And rumor has it that Terrifier 4 is going to be in space. Did you see that?
Boy. No, I didn't.
I think
see
Damien Leone.
I know it was greenlit, but I did not see.
I think he confirmed it, or he was trolling everybody because he put on his Twitter like a fucking spaceship emoji.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to those things, dude. Jason X, I like Jason X. Leprechaun 4, I like.
I do like Leprechaun 4 in space.
Right?
I do like Hellraiser 4 Bloodline. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Art the Clown in space. I did hear, though, that we're going to get more of Art's backstory, and this is going to truly end everything. It's going to wrap up everything that Damien Leone has been building on this franchise.
That's cool, man. Yeah, he's fucking killed it with this character, and David Howard Thornton, you know, has absolutely killed it. You know, hats off to them. Even though, like, I will say, I haven't finished Terrifier 2. I have not finished.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You still haven't finished it.
I still haven't done it. I will absolutely do it. I got to support independent filmmaking. I don't know. I just wasn't super into it when I had watched it. I'm definitely going to give it another go. I love what they're doing. And the music video that they did was actually pretty cool with Ice Nine Kills. Even though I'm not the biggest Ice Nine Kills guy, I think, cannot
get into that band.
I really
cornball shit.
I don't love the music, but I think that the music video was really fucking cool. I appreciate a good music video. It was gory as fuck. It was grotesque, you know, like a woman has a baby at the fucking concert, and then like people start kicking it around and killing it and all this shit. It was wild. So yeah, back to like what you were saying about, you know, Terrifier killing it at the box office. So like that's really cool. That's something cool that happened in 2024.
Yeah. Also, I heard The Substance. I still haven't seen it.
Me either.
But I heard it was an amazing body horror film with great practical effects. All of the screen grabs I have seen of it made me really want to see it. So I need to get to it. I still need to catch up on Smile so I could see Smile 2, because Smile 2 was filmed right in my hometown here at the old Pizza Hut that they now just knocked down. So rest in peace to our local Pizza Hut that's been out of business for 10 plus years.
Thankfully,
but it's really
got to
cool.
Eat there.
Yeah. It's really cool though that they shot some scenes there. And on top of Smile 2 being filmed here, also that new Frankenstein movie with Christian Bale was filmed like 10 minutes away from my mom and her husband's house, and I got to see, as I was driving to work, some scenes being filmed, or them
Okay.
setting up this old gas station service station as if it was from like the 1940s. So I'm very anticipated for that. Um, yeah, I haven't seen absolutely everything that got released this year, but I feel like 2022 was a very strong year. 2023 was middle of the road. Maybe this year, couple of good ones, couple of misses. Like for example, Beetlejuice. I really enjoyed it. Kristen and we saw it in theaters opening weekend. We had a good time with that.
I thought it
Um,
was okay. I didn't love it. I liked it. I'll definitely watch it again. I think it's gonna take, me seeing it a couple more times. My biggest problem with movies lately, and I think I've even mentioned this to you, is just the pacing just always feels off for movies. And I don't know if they're trying to cater to the attention span of viewers, but
I
it
think
just,
you're right about that.
yeah, because it just always seems very rushed, and nothing ever seems resolved in the end. Like you don't feel so satisfied at the end of these movies anymore. And
I will say this: that Beetlejuice, the third act, definitely felt rushed.
yeah, 100%. And they could have did way more with that. The bride chick, Monica Bellucci,
Yeah,
Tim
which
Burton's muse.
we know Tim Burton just threw her in
Yeah,
because
he
that's his,
shoehorns
like,
all his girls in.
yeah,
So she could have been really cool, but somebody had made a mention, and it made perfect sense that like that movie would have worked with or without her.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but it was good. I enjoyed that. I will say though that my favorite movie of the year wasn't even a horror movie, man. It was fucking Furiosa.
Nice.
Yeah, Furiosa
I
was my
still gotta
favorite.
check that out.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved every fucking second of it.
I
Great movie.
think my favorite movie of the year may be Alien Romulus.
Cool.
That
I liked
was,
Alien.
yeah, they knocked it out of the park. At first, though, I won't lie, like the initial like reveal of like the Xenomorph Prometheus kid.
Yeah.
Like at first, I
We
didn't
didn't like
love it
Yeah, no.
until I saw the behind the scenes that it wasn't CGI and it was actually an actor in a suit.
Yeah, he's like a Romanian basketball player, and he's like super fucking tall, super skinny. I feel like they did like throw on a bunch of CGI over him.
Yeah, yeah. But the fact that they still did someone in a suit and the actual Xenomorph was like a guy in a suit, and Fede Alvarez, which we champion, did throw a lot of practical effects in there. I really want to pick up that release so I can see some of the uncut footage.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think I'm definitely gonna pick that up as well. But I enjoyed that flick too. We had seen it together, and the whole ending part with the offspring was our main gripe with it. And I wasn't gonna immediately write off the movie as me not liking it based off of that, because like you did say, we do champion Fede. And I think Fede yet again made a phenomenal movie. It took some time for me to kind of like let that offspring marinade. And at the end of it, yeah, seeing the behind the scenes stuff really changed my opinion on it. I think maybe they overdid it with the CGI. They had a cool concept for the suit for sure. And there was actually more concepts as far as like what that xenomorph could have looked like. And it could have been really cool if they had kind of like mixed a humanoid looking xenomorph with like the rounded head and everything, even if it was just kind of like a spiked head or something, but he just kind of like looked like a bit of a pinhead type deal,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good one. I'd say that's like my number 2 favorite of the year for sure.
Yeah, I'd say it was my top. I'm trying to think if there's any other movies besides like that and Beetlejuice that really wowed me. I'll say I saw In a Violent Nature 2. I found it to be very boring. There were 2 kills that were really good. Obviously, the famous like edge of the cliff yoga kill.
Yeah.
Great practical effects, and the wood splitter kill. Those 2 scenes, awesome. Everything else, Like, I'm like, fuck, so much walking. I can't with this.
But you want to know the thing about it? I was thinking about this yesterday because I knew that this topic was going to come up, and I wanted to know how I could kind of defend this movie in a sense, because what it's marketed as is from the point of view of a serial killer. All right. So I'm going to just use the example because it's pretty much inspired by Friday the 13th, I'd say. Like, that dude looks like Jason. Okay.
A very fair assessment.
Right.
Yeah.
What makes the Jason movies good, or Friday the 13th movies good and enjoyable and watchable, are the characters, right? It's like we want the Jason kills, but we're not with Jason the entire time. That is exactly what a Friday the 13th movie would be if we were with Jason the entire time. So that would be like all these fucking Friday the 13th flicks that we hate because we've been with Jason the whole time. What really matters is what's going on the flip side of it. It doesn't matter what's going on with the side of the killer. We just want to see the kills. So in all reality, a movie that's from a killer's perspective doesn't really work. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, I found it to be very boring.
But I knew what I was getting myself into, and I for what it was, I enjoyed it. Maybe if the runtime was cut down, you'd probably enjoy it a little bit more. But
maybe if this was like a short, like a 30-minute or a 45-minute short, I would have liked it a lot more. But the fact that it was like, I don't know, an hour and a half, an hour and 20-something minutes. Like,
for really nothing to happen.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
like I said, when the
moseying
kills
around
happen,
the fucking, just looking for his necklace.
And also, like, I wasn't crazy about the killer's look. It was very standard. It was very, like, backwoods slasher. Even Unmasked, like, didn't really wow me.
Thought he was cool with the mask.
The old school, like, fireman's mask or whatever.
I kind of dug that a little bit. I really like the one kill, even though it's not the most violent one, the one that sticks out to me the most was when when those girls are swimming and he like walks into the water and then the camera's just like static for the whole time. And then you see the girl swimming and then you see her get like pulled under. But it was kind of like a good like 2 or 3 minutes of you just waiting for her to be dragged under. And I liked it because it went exactly how I wanted it to. As soon as I saw them setting that up, I thought to myself, that would be really cool if they just like kept the camera here static and then we just see this fucking girl get dragged under. And then it just stays static. So I liked it. I enjoyed that movie. I did not think that it was that bad of a flick. When I think about my third film, Late Night with the Devil might be like my number 3 of the year. I thought that was a really good flick, man. You saw it, didn't you?
Yes, we saw it in back in April, Kristen and I. This was back when she was living in PA, and I would spend like every other weekend at her place. And we had a great time watching it. I still need to pick up the Second Sight box set or the Steelbook. Yeah, it was a fun one. Very good. Like, you know, they tried to do it the whole 70s talk show, and I think they succeeded very well with it.
Yeah.
And you know, the ending, it just got so crazy. It almost felt like the Eli Roth's Last Exorcism. I know he only produced it, but like part of that just kind of how everything just gets so fucking crazy at the end of that movie.
Yeah, it got pretty intense.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one.
That was a fun one. Another one, I'd have to say, actually, this is going to maybe boot up or maybe replace. So I said Alien Romulus, maybe Beetlejuice. But it might flip around because VHS Beyond was so fucking awesome.
I was hoping you'd bring that up. I didn't end up seeing it. I'm glad that you brought it up.
Kristen and I had an absolute great time watching it. The homie Joe was over too because he's a fan of the VHS series like me. Well, I like part 2. I like VHS 94. 85 was okay. And then like 99 was okay. But this one, VHS Beyond, was really, it was like my favorite since 94 and VHS Part 2. And the fact that the band Holy Blade did a song for the post credits, which we are big Holy Blade fans in this household, and you know, we love everything that, like, whether Colin Young or Taylor Young of Twitching Tongues, God's Hate, Dead Body, like, we love everything that they do. And Holy Blade is like an AFI Art of Drowning, All Hallows EP tribute band, Sing the Sorrow, like that kind of era tribute band, pretty much. And they released a song called Beyond for the movie, and it played in the post credits, and it was fucking awesome. It's so awesome to see them attached to this movie, attached to Shudder, because there is like a curation section with Bo and Colin on there.
Yeah, I did see that.
So that was like to bridge like the whole hardcore and horror universe. Like, that's so sick. You know, I'm always going to champion that shit.
What movies did you like look and see like what they had curated, like what they suggested?
I didn't.
I'm gonna have to take a look at that. I'm curious to see what Colin Young suggests.
Yeah, because he's a big horror movie fan. Like, one of his favorites is John Carpenter's The Thing. And, you know, he's always like looking to watch like whatever like new horror movies.
That's cool when bands that we enjoy can contribute.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like the Young brothers, man, they're
machines
all over.
Anything that they touch, or if like Taylor Young produces, mixes, and masters, like, I'm gonna listen to it.
Yeah, it's always you're always sold on that kind of shit, right? With him,
yeah,
he's solid though, man. And the Misfits or the
Twitch Fits,
the Twitch Fits, yes,
which, you know, I'm excited for that pre-order. I know you jumped in on that too.
I did. Yep.
Can't wait for Volume 2 to come out. Speaking of, like, yesterday morning we watched the Misfits episode, the Hardlore Misfits 12 Hits from Hell that never got released. Like, that was a great deep dive into that. And then like them talking about the Misfits coffin box. Like, I busted that. Yeah, I have it. Not the limited edition one that Colin has with the really nice slipcase CDs. I just have the basic ones. But, you know, I had to pull that out because that's been shit. Like, I've had that since high school when my mom got it for me 10th grade year for Christmas. And I was like, yeah, I still have this. So, you know, I posted it. Colin liked it. I tagged him on my story.
Oh,
so
that's
that was cool.
Did you post it on our page?
I did not. I dropped the ball on that one, man.
I don't know, Steve. I don't know, man. I don't get you sometimes.
I probably should have.
Got a podcast page where fucking everybody likes the same shit we do, and
yeah.
That's a sick set. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, again, going back to VHS Beyond, I can't wait to see what the future of those series are. They're just fun. They always release them in October.
Remember the Rat Man?
Oh, hail Ratma! Yeah, so like, again, VHS 94 is like, next to VHS 2 is like my favorite one. And I have to pick up, there's a steelbook that has VHS 94, 85, and 99, like as one steelbook.
They got to do like a cool anthology, like fucking release of that once. I mean, I'm not going to hope that they stop doing them, because those movies really help careers out for certain filmmakers. They do, man, you know, which I really do think.
Yes,
cool.
not every segment is going to hit, but overall, for the most part, they're fun. The effects are always good. One thing I've always said with, like, especially like 94 going forward, the dead bodies that you see are always amazing looking.
There was one segment that I remember, and it's not from the new one. It might have been 94 with I think it was a cyborg woman or a cyborg guy. Was it?
Yeah, it was a cyborg woman. That was 94. I think it was a Taiwanese or Indonesian. I think it's the people that did the cult segment in part 2.
Oh, okay. Well, that was probably
my favorite out of all the segments next to Ratma. That from part 2 with the like Baphomet like creature.
Yeah.
Okay, that thing scares the fuck out of me.
So they certainly know how to create something memorable, because from part 2, you know, that was when the dude explodes and everything, right? Where it's kind of like the not the apocalypse, but what the fuck do they call it? There's the rapture, like kind of like whatever kind of deal it was. Yeah, I remember that. And yeah, from that other one, you said that was 94, correct? VHS 94.
Yeah, with the cyborg girl, which kind of like
I thought that
it
was
was
super
filmed like a
cool.
video game, but
Yeah, I
it
really
was-
I really liked that one.
yeah.
And it was like first person, then you like right, and you didn't really see
Yeah.
like what she had
Actually-
looked like until there was like a reflection.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you were like, wow, like because it was only like partial of a face, and it's like took away all of her identity, but it's like the mind was still there. That was pretty cool.
In VHS Beyond, there is a segment, like the first segment has that first person Doom, dare I say, like, feels like a video game at one point and involves a chainsaw. So it really feels like Doom Eternal or some shit,
I'm gonna have to fucking to peep
Dude,
that.
check it out. That's definitely a top for me. Like Alien Romulus, then VHS Beyond were like my top two.
I should have watched that, man, because I was trying, like, kind of like at the last minute, I was trying to cram in watching more movies from 2024, and I ended up watching Abigail, the vampire ballerina thing from Radio Silence. You know those dudes. They did Ready or Not, and then they did like the last two Screams that were really good.
Okay.
So they're like two directors, but they go by Radio Silence. So this had what's her name? Melissa Barrera, the girl that was in Scream 2, who played Jenna Ortega's sister. So she's in it. There was that kid that just passed away, or I don't know if just passed away. His name is Angus Cloud. He was in Euphoria. He was in it, and I think it's like his second to last movie, whatever. But you remember the vampire ballerina girl? You ever?
I don't think I've really seen much on this movie.
That's shocking because it was in the theaters and everything, and it was a pretty good movie, I'd say. It was good. It had some good kills. It had a lot of gore. Those guys really go over the top with the gore, man.
Oh, I always appreciate that,
which is pretty nice. The reasoning behind it all was kind of a little silly, like once you find out what's really going on, it's a little silly, which I didn't like. But then I like kind of take a step aside and I'm like, look at the movies that I watch for fun. They're like so bad they're good. So I'm like, do I really not like it? But I don't know, man. I feel like sometimes what ends up happening with that is I expect newer movies to be less like that, I suppose. Not to be so bad that they're good, like Longlegs. I hated that fucking movie.
Well, you know what? Let's get into Longlegs.
Well, at the 11th hour, you decided to watch it, thankfully, because I needed to just like talk about it. I was gonna be a dickhead and bury the film, but I really don't want to be like that. I'm just gonna say though that I really didn't like it. I thought that the marketing really fucking pissed me off after I had actually seen the movie. I feel like I don't know. It could be wrong of me to say, but I feel like what they were saying about the movie is just they were full of shit. They were comparing it to Silence of the Lambs. They're comparing it to Seven. They're saying that like this girl, what's her name, Micah Monroe or whatever her name is, she was in It Follows. They're like, oh, she gave an Oscar-worthy performance. The fucking girl didn't do shit the entire duration of the movie besides look shocked and breathe heavy.
Yeah, she was very one-dimensional.
Yes.
Nicolas Cage as Longlegs, some scenes worked for me. Some I was just like, this is just a little too over the top and it's kind of taking me out of it.
When he's doing the
I was like with the cuckoo, and I understand like the significance of the whole cuckoo, like because when cuckoo birds, like when their eggs are dropped, they try to like push out the other birds and like have the mama bird like kind of feed them. Okay. And there was like some themes I was like, deep meanings, because this movie does have like, I guess, a lot of like deep meanings and themes to it.
Yeah, and
but not all of it worked for me. It kind of got very convoluted.
None of it worked for me.
Some things I will say I appreciated. Like I like the whole satanic themes. There was some good imagery. Especially like with the mom and like she's all bloody and she's like Hail Satan and the gnarled tree behind her.
One fucking shot.
Yeah, that shot was cool. I did like the silhouetted, like what we'd now find out to be a doll, like the dolls that like he was making. Okay, the shot of its eyes like
lighting up under the
that was
thing.
Unsettling, and then like the image of Satan behind our main character when she was younger, like that was a cool image, but overall it did not work for me.
Look, he needed to pick a lane.
Yeah.
And
I think he tried to just put,
and he tried jamming
too much in.
4 or 5 fucking things into it, and it made no sense at the end. It made it was a shit movie, dude. I was so fucking mad. And it came out probably around the same weekend or a weekend after Maxine.
Yeah. Another 2024 release I still need to see.
That was not my favorite. We'll get into that in a second. I'm not going to go too much into that one, but I'm just going to wrap up Longlegs. I personally do not think that Oz Perkins is a good writer, and I don't think that he's a good filmmaker. And I know that he's an actor, and then maybe he should stick to acting. The one thing that he's really good at is the imagery. Like, he's very good at imagery, but he cannot tell a story. And I've noticed that with this movie, and then I had noticed it with the Hansel and Gretel film that he had made a couple years ago. I don't know if you had seen that.
I have not seen it. No.
It was like a Hansel and Gretel retelling or whatever. And like the wood scenes, the imagery, just everything about it was so fucking good. And I was like, this is going to be a really scary movie. Music, picks good music. Like, and then that movie sucked. And then I'd seen this and I'm like, all right, I'll give it a whirl. Nicolas Cage kind of looked cool. It just didn't work, man. You know?
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of potential, but overall,
yes, a lot of potential, a big letdown, a lot to be desired. Totally rushed in the third act, like I said about the pacing.
This was another one where
films.
the third act
it totally fell apart.
Yeah.
And I just did not like it. And unfortunately, I really didn't like Maxine too much. I can't really get too much into that because you have yet to see it.
Yeah, I want to get Kristen caught up with, because she hasn't seen X, she hasn't seen Pearl. So I want her to see those first, which I don't have copies of either.
I think they're both on HBO Max.
Yeah, I heard Pearl's on Netflix and X is on HBO Max, and Maxine's also on HBO Max. So
they went a certain route with Maxine that I didn't really like at all. And I kind of liked it up until that point, and I wanted it to get a lot better. I'm not going to say really anything else about it. You know, I'm curious to talk to you about it when it happens, but I'm going to say, like, I think that X has been the best of that trilogy. I like Pearl, but I don't like Pearl as much as I like
Pearl's a fun
X.
Character study, but X overall, it just got that Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel.
Yeah, it's gritty, grimy, nasty, great.
Speaking
violence.
of like Ty
So good.
West, I had just shown Kristen The House of the Devil because
It's a great
this
one.
past Friday was like a super full moon, and I was just like, I was just in the mood because, like, you know, I know it's a full moon eclipse in that movie, but like if it has that late fall chilly feel. Upon the time of this recording, we're in the second half of November now. And I was just like, yeah, tonight's a good night to watch The House of the Devil. And I heard that Second Sight may be doing a box set of that. I
feel like that was announced.
I think it probably was.
Yeah.
I just can't really confirm right now.
I feel like that was I feel like that was announced
if that is
by
the
either
case,
Second Sight or Umbrella. I think it was Second Sight.
Whoever's releasing a box set of it, I will obviously be picking it up because you and I both discovered that movie like at the same time randomly.
Yeah.
And just so happened to like watch it like without even like acknowledging like, hey, I'm going to check this movie out. It was just like, hey man, have you ever seen The House of the Devil? Cause I just saw this randomly and like, it was like, yeah, I saw that too. And that, you know, that's one of Ty West's like first movies. And, you know, he's definitely a bigger name now with like X, Pearl, and Maxine. But yeah, it was really cool to show Kristen that. I can't wait for the box set. I definitely will be double dipping.
Yeah,
and transitioning,
I don't own a copy, but
transitioning, like this was a good year for releases. We got the Hitcher box set.
yes, we did.
long anticipated, again from Second Sight
I
releasing.
feel like that
which-
was like 2 years, 3 years in the making, man.
Yeah.
I heard about this years ago. Yeah, and we finally got it. I have yet to watch it, but the box set itself is beefy.
Yes,
know?
I'm looking right at it on my shelf right now. I'm like, look at that fucking beautiful thing. I also got the Your Next Second Sight box set, which my cousin Alicia and her boyfriend came over to see the apartment, and we all watched it. And it looks so fucking great seeing in 4K UHD fucking on our TV. It was fucking great. And like, I'm sure, like, I think, yeah, Alicia had seen it. Her boyfriend didn't. Kristen hadn't seen it in a while. But to watch all of their reactions, it was like they were seeing it for the first time. And that just made me like super stoked.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
It's a good feeling,
I fucking love that movie. So
that movie impressed me a lot when it first came out. So
yeah,
I think that's got to be one that I revisit sooner than later.
Hell
Especially
yeah.
because you kind of say that it's got a bit of a Thanksgiving-y
It does.
feel
It's an
because of the holiday
anniversary
and
dinner.
shit.
It's an anniversary dinner, but it's a big family gathering. Again, it looks like it's chilly weather outside. And
who directed that? Was
Adam
that
Wingard?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Mr. Godzilla himself.
And Ty West is in it. He plays the filmmaker boyfriend. And Simon Barrett, like, he plays the asshole brother Drake, and I love him.
And it was
like,
all
his dialogue is so good.
Yeah. I remember I became very familiar with those guys because of obviously VHS, the first one, because they all had
They all worked
segments
on
and shit in it. So I was following their careers after that, and Your Next was awesome. We also finally got the Trick or Treat 4K.
Yes.
Finally.
Yes, we did. Now, you and I, we both have the NSM Records German media book, Ragman.
And the DVD
and I will say,
and a bootleg. And
yeah. I will say the English audio on that Ragman release is garbage. I was comparing. I was like, why does it sound just like a little more muffled? And then I'd switch to the German audio, and it sounded clear as day. Whereas now we have a 4K UHD upscale, and I know they remastered the audio. That's another box set that looks very beefy. I'm staring at it right fucking now.
Yeah, I have it right here.
Yeah,
been keeping
we
it.
both got the same one.
Yeah, Devin draws.
Ironically, yep.
Yeah.
And
you were like, grab this one for me. I was like, ironically enough,
the site was crashing when I tried to hop on.
It was fine
and thankfully
for me.
You scored a copy for me.
It was taking too long, so I ended up getting it through Orbit. And dude, when I went on Orbit to buy it, there was 3 different variations, I believe, to the cover. The only one that was like not sold out was the one that I actually wanted. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
And then they had tons of copies left when I was able to, grab it for you. But I'm glad that we had received that.
Yeah,
there's
now
just
like
been a
sold
lot
out, I think.
Probably. There was only 600 or 6,666 copies or some shit.
Yeah.
That were released or something. I don't think that they're numbered.
And we that came out during our Trick or Treat merch drop, so that was cool timing.
Yeah.
Another release, Dario Argento's Opera from 7 Films, 4K UHD. I'm looking at that box set on my shelf too, and I'm like, can't wait to open that. The Halloween, the Out There Halloween Mega Tape box set from TerraVision, the WNUF sequel. I'm very happy that
they just released the standard
that.
edition that I think I'm gonna pick up.
Yeah, definitely pick it up, brother. It's another fun one. It's like, whereas WNUF is like the 80s, this is the early to mid 90s. There's a Ricky Lake like feel, fucking X-Files like feel, it unsolved like mysteries. Kind of like, it's another fun one. Yeah, there was just some great releases I also got, and I know you got just in time for the holiday. Eli Roth Thanksgiving, that steelbook looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a great.
I'm happy I held off for it.
Yeah, I am too. I'm glad that I picked it up. That's just something that's going to be tradition.
Also, Godzilla -1. I'm still waiting for mine to come in, but you said you did the comparison that the UK box set is the exact same as the Toho box set, so I'm happy they're exactly the same. Just, mine has English writing, yours has Japanese writing, which always looks cooler.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I'll have to look back at the photos because I didn't compare that. I just compared the specs and shit, which was all the same. But nonetheless, very good year for releases. Not the strongest for...
Well, we didn't
for
theatrical,
for
but
theatricals.
for us physical media collectors,
Yeah.
this has been one hell of a year. And I'm so
dude.
excited.
One thing that kind of came in fucking out of nowhere was TerraVision releasing Rumpelstiltskin on 4K.
Yes, you were very anticipated for that.
I love that movie ever since I was a kid. And for the longest time, I had thought that it was a fever dream, me seeing that fucking movie. Until I had gotten older and whatever. I think I saw it late night HBO one time and I was like, this is absurd. That and Pinocchio. I think Pinocchio needs another release as well. Pinocchio's
I
Revenge.
have been championing, and I know the homies at Movie Dumpster appreciate that film too.
Yeah, they had a great
It's an
episode
acquired
on that
taste.
one.
They
Yeah.
did. Go check that out if you like Pinocchio's Revenge. I want either TerraVision or Vinegar Syndrome to give that a release. Speaking of Vinegar Syndrome, they released Congo 4K UHD.
Yeah,
I'm a big champion of Congo. I have to pick that up too.
Bruce Campbell.
Yes, Bruce Campbell. Also, like Stan Winston Studios effects. Guys in suits in these monster gorilla suits. I used to have the action figures. Like, I was a big Congo kid. Ernie Hudson.
Yeah.
The fucking one guy, stop eating my sesame cake, to fucking Tim Curry. I love that movie. I love Congo. I always mimic Amy the gorilla who talks with a glove. Dan always makes me do the bit. Like, Amy, bad gorilla, go away, go away. Like, that movie's silly, it's ridiculous, but it's fucking fun. And great effects. Again, Stan Winston Studios.
Yeah. That's going to be an after the holidays deal.
Oh, 100%.
That and
and Severin just announced they're releasing Rats, the Nights of Terror.
I don't think I'm going to buy that.
I have to because, okay, so I have that and Hell of the Living Dead in a double pack. And now Severin is releasing them as separate 4K UHDs. So now Hell of the Living Dead they're both Bruno Mattei films, which he's like the Italian master ripoff. So that is a Dawn of the Dead ripoff with the Goblin score in it. That's a fun one, a good like Italian zombie gore flick. And then Rats, the Nights of Terror. It's a post-apocalyptic movie with, again, these like nuclear mutated like killer rats. And they're just like basic rats, but what's on the slipcover is in relation to the ending, which that ending, the first time I saw the movie, stuck with me for over a week. I couldn't help but think about it.
It also reminds me of the Crazies cover.
Yeah.
The George Romero, the Crazies cover. Very similar.
So after the holidays, I definitely will be picking that up. I'm excited to see what else Severin Films release because, again, upon the time of this recording, it's the later half of November. So they're announcing their, Black Friday sale title reveals. And I will say the mid-year sale title reveals weren't that good.
I don't even really remember.
But this year, it's
All the Haunts.
like,
they have a new All the Haunts that's coming out, which looks really
looks
cool.
good.
I remember you and I sitting down and we went through the previews for a lot of those movies. The Beauty and the Beast one that was like from the Czech Republic.
Yeah, that looks pretty wild.
Fucking wild. Yeah, I think it was like a Czech film. I'm definitely going to be picking up both of those box sets because I do not have them yet. So All the Haunts is definitely on my radar. And I think this year also, just to wrap it up, I think this is when we had gotten the Gummo 4K.
Yes, Gummo 4K and an American movie.
Yep.
Which those are two titles I have to pick up too.
So, yeah, good year for physical media collectors.
A great year for releases. I'm just like, yeah, there's some I probably glossed over. Also, Kristen picked up her first ever title, which was Elvira, Mistress of the Dark 4K UHD from Arrow.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to visit that with her.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. I'm glad that she's going to start getting into movies as we get into vinyl, right?
Yeah.
So there's one thing I want to say. Unfortunately, we'll have to talk about it in January, but Nosferatu, man, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu,
Very anticipated.
That's one that's anticipated for me. I definitely want to see it. He hasn't missed yet. I think that's one of the best filmmakers around.
I agree.
Just watching, just looking at the art, the set pieces, everything like that from just the commercial stuff, man. Like, holy shit, dude! Like,
brother,
This dude needs an Oscar for that at least.
I agree because like
Period films, man, like that guy knows how to do it.
He hits it out of the park every time because before we got into our Halloween season watch list, like literally like late September, I threw on The Witch for her to watch, and I'd only seen it once, and I was
Great
like, yeah,
film.
I wanna revisit The Witch, and I need to get that Second Sight fucking box set. I love that movie.
Yeah.
I have Dan and Alec are coming over next weekend so we could all watch The Lighthouse because I don't think Alec has seen it and Kristen hasn't seen it. So to kind of anticipate for Nosferatu. And that movie made me a fan of Robert Pattinson. I said, oh, there is so much more than this Twilight character. I'm like, this guy is amazing.
Well, that's the problem when you get into like these those types of roles early on in your career, man. You know? So I mean he went on in his career to play Batman.
Which he did an amazing job.
Which he did an amazing job, man.
I cannot wait for Batman 2. We are gonna start the Penguin series real soon.
Yeah, you'll like it.
I know I will because of like the Sopranos comparisons.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna
Colin
really
Farrell,
enjoy
dude,
this.
like he
amazing.
I don't know, man. Like that's a totally different person.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. He does an amazing job, man. He's a phenomenal actor. That guy. That's a lot of work. He's under a lot of makeup, dude. A lot of makeup. It's insane. But I've seen a couple episodes. I enjoyed them a lot. Last thing I want to say, to my surprise, the one movie this year that I thought was going to be the biggest piece of shit in the world was actually not the biggest piece of shit in the world. Now it was The Crow. I know that you say you're never going to see it, but it was not the biggest piece of shit in the world. I think if they were to market it and release it without the Crow title, everybody would like this movie a hell of a lot more. Dude, you compare too much. You compare it too much to Brandon Lee's Crow, and it's not the same movie at all. I think it was a pretty okay movie, man. It was very, very, very violent. A lot of gore.
Yeah, I heard in the last act. Now, not to discredit you, my brother.
Last 25, 30 minutes. Yeah, that's the only time we really see it. And then prior to that, like an hour is just developing this story between Eric and Shelley. And
from what I've seen, it seems like Bill and that Figgy, what is her name? FK Twigs. Why'd I call her Figgy? I'm thinking of Marilyn Manson's fucking piece of shit bassist.
Yeah. Well, she used to date Robert Pattinson, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, he used to date her. He broke her heart and she wrote a song about it. I'll send it to you. She's a singer. I really didn't know until.
Yeah. It just, from what I've seen in that movie, it seemed like they had absolutely no fucking chemistry whatsoever. Pizzabal, who is a movie reviewer, physical media collector, someone's word who I trust very much. Not that I'm discrediting you, brother. But from what he described to me, it made me never want to see this movie because I heard it's so much of just like Bill Skarsgård just like crying and just like doesn't really become the quote unquote Crow character until the last half hour. And then I've heard that this opera house scene is amazing and the violence is great, but it takes so long to get to that by the time that you're there, you're like, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, they could have paced it out a little bit better.
And I hate the look. The soundtrack seems ass.
The look isn't great. There was some song choices in it that I thought were really cool. Like they used the Joy Division song in it at a certain point in time that I thought worked well, kind of hit you a little bit. As far as like their chemistry goes, I kind of disagree. I think that they kind of did have like good chemistry. I know the scene that you might have that you might be talking about when she like tells him that stupid joke when they're away or whatever, and the guy who's like supposed to be the top dollar character, like that kind of sucks. Like it wasn't gritty at all, which I didn't think worked. Like if they would have went the route of making it like the 94, it probably would have been pretty good. Honestly, like if they really would have went with the source material, like James O'Barr's story, it probably could have been really good. Because of Bill Skarsgård, mostly. I think he did good in the character. Personally, I think he was a good Eric, and I was a little worried because I was like, "Yo, as far as like characters go, I'm like Bill Skarsgård hasn't missed for me yet." And I'm like, this might be the only one where he misses, but I think he did good. So that was not the worst movie. There was one last thing I wanted to say, and then I think it might be time for us to call it on this episode. Shit, there was something that I wanted to say. Anyways, I don't know. I guess it just truly wasn't that important.
Well, I'll tell you what's important. The growth of this show, the merch drops that we've done, the artists that we collaborate with. I'm so happy with how we've grown. We cut our teeth vending at Heavy HV Fest, and I can't wait to see another vending opportunity for us. VHS Fest, we are coming for you next summer. Better believe it. Monster Mania Con, we're gonna try.
We'll get there.
We'll get there, especially after like when we went last year or this past year actually, and we saw like some of like the merch. I was like, we got this.
Yeah, man. I think that we do very well at a con like that for sure.
Yeah. With our designs, which I love our designs.
And we just have a lot more we have a lot more in the bag anyways that we haven't even released yet. So I'm constantly, having these things worked on, and for January I have some cool releases. So I don't think that we're going to even be doing anything that's like movie related. We're just going to do a couple shirt designs releases that are more tailored to just the show brand itself. Yeah. So I have a cool one that I want to tell you about when we hop off. But
yeah, I think overall this year it was good growth for the show. We had the website launched, going strong. Our followers on Instagram have grown quite a bit. YouTube. And I'm just happy to see what the future holds with more merch designs, more vending opportunities, the movies we cover. If you picked up a shirt, past or present, we thank you so much. If you've checked us out, past or present, again, thank you for checking us out. I saw a comment on one of our Ninja November posts that someone was like, I just finished this episode. It was amazing. I'm now going back to episode and binging from episode 1. I love to hear that. Seriously. It means the world to us. Thank you for everyone that has supported us this year and helped this show grow. It means the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And 2025 is going to be great.
It's 2024,
for me on a personal level was a great year.
Brother, it
big
started
changes
off
for
as
you. Yeah.
Big changes for
huge
me.
Huge changes for you.
Huge.
But
I found my life partner. We have our own place together.
Beautiful home.
Yes, a nice cozy home that is truly ours. Like when you walk through, you can tell like I'm the horror movie collector, she's the record collector, and it just feels like our home. It was a great year for Hudson Valley shows. The scene is thriving between Heavy HV, Andrew Geip, and Alex Casey of Streets of Hate. Like the amount of shows that we have booked here, I feel very fortunate to be a part of the scene, to be in an area where it's just growing and growing, and there's so many talented bands. Like, it's been a great year. Yeah. Maybe not at the box office for certain releases for us, but overall, a great year for physical media, for good music, for us as a show and a brand. It's been great.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I always say, it's always full steam ahead when it comes for us. We're always just pushing forward with that. Let's just hope that the box office gets better in 2025. I don't even really know like what to anticipate besides the Wolfman. I think that'd be really cool. Come on, man. Lee Winnell, I feel like he's great.
That
man.
Fucking design, which they released at the fucking
That's not really him. The Haunted Nights or whatever the fuck it was. That's not really him.
All right, we'll see. We'll see.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have done that.
Motherfucker looks like old man David Lopan from Big Trouble in Little China.
No, I don't think that that's really him. If it is,
I fucking hope. If that is, I'm holding you to it, man.
All right, yeah, that's fine.
I'm kidding with you, brother. But I mean, yeah, I heard shout out to Epic Film Guys. They interviewed the director of Werewolves.
Oh, okay.
And that looks like a fun horror action movie. I'm definitely looking to check out. Where like this super event happens where like everyone on the full moon like turns into like a werewolf, or like it's almost treated like a disease.
Okay.
Look into
Yeah,
it, man.
I'll look into it.
It looks like a good like action horror movie.
I feel like they posted something about it. I just have to look further into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there are maybe some CGI, but I also think there's like guys in werewolf suits.
Guys
which,
in suits,
you know,
man. Then I'm there.
It was that conversation that sparked this whole show.
The guys in suits, yeah.
Werewolves, yeah, guys in a suit. It's got to always be.
Well, I knew that we would always do good having a show together, and I was a little jealous that
it was destined to happen.
Jealous that you and Dylan were doing it and didn't even fucking ask me a single time to come on to talk. So I just had to start one myself. I had to start one myself. Brother. Why not, right? That's how every villain origin story happens, right?
Yeah. Speaking of the homie of the show, Chunky Larry, he now has his own curation for like some local channel on his side of the West Coast where he like curates movies and shit. So that's really cool. Shout outs to Uncle Larry, Chunky Larry, Creature Features podcast. Yeah, so good for him. Before we wrap up, it is the holiday season, so I just want to throw out a couple of flicks that you should probably check out that that maybe you haven't seen. Joe Begus's Christmas Bloody Christmas, streaming on Shudder. That's a fun Christmas slasher. Also, it has been announced that they are remaking Silent Night, Deadly Night. Some of the people that worked on Terrifier 3 are remaking it, so I'm very curious to see how that's gonna hold up.
Christmas Bloody Christmas was supposed to be a Silent Night Deadly Night remake, and they wouldn't let him do it.
It was, yeah, missed opportunity, but yeah. So Christmas Bloody Christmas, obviously like Krampus, Black Christmas remake are ones to check out. Dialed Code Santa.
Yeah, you can't ever forget about Dialed Code.
No. There would be no Home Alone. Yeah, French Home
Alone on steroids.
Yeah, with a fucking killer Santa Claus creeper. It's insane. Another one to maybe throw out there, one we covered last year, and that is Don't Open Till Christmas.
Great one.
Same people that worked on Pieces. Definitely check that one out. Instead of a killer Santa Claus, it is a killer killing Santa Clauses.
Somebody who really hates Christmas.
Definitely refer back to our episode on that if you're more curious about that movie. Just trying to throw a couple more. Jack Frost. Throw some the Jack killer Frost snowman. Yes.
1 and 2. I've seen 2 way more.
Not a fan of 2. I don't like the whole Hawaii.
Right. Yeah, he's in Hawaii. Yeah,
but obviously the first one, awesome, fun time. We remember the video era of Michael Keaton's Jack Frost being on the shelf, as well as that one, and like
a lot of confusion.
People swapping the tapes. That was a big lore. Also, 2 more like deep cuts. Deadly Dreams. That's a good like a killer who is haunting this kid who had a traumatic experience where he murdered his family on Christmas Eve, and the killer's like wearing like a wolf pelt mask and like has like a hunting rifle.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's got an interesting twist. And also Vinegar Syndrome's Bloodbeat. That is the most unconventional Christmas slasher you'll ever see.
It's with the samurai, right?
Yes, the ghost samurai.
And like anytime she like orgasms or has a sexual desire,
yes. It was done by a French filmmaker, done in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
and it takes place around the Christmas break. It's just so out there and random. That was one of my first Vinegar Syndrome releases. I remember I picked that up from the very first Monster Mania Con that we had went to in 2018 together, and just something about that slipcover like grabbed me. And just reading the back of it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to check it.
It is a really cool slip that Vinegar Syndrome had put together, but
yeah,
they're like notoriously the best at like repurposing shit,
Yeah. So those are just some Christmas horror movies that I wanted to throw out there since it is the holiday season. But yeah, I think with that being said, the best way you could support Dead with My Friends podcast is following us on Instagram at Dead with My Friends podcast. We are on YouTube. Subscribe to us, Dead with My Friends podcast. We're on Spotify, Anchor FM, Apple Podcast, and we also have a website at www.deadwithmyfriendspodcast.com where you could see the latest merch drops, latest episodes, past episodes, past merch drops, all of our updates, they are on that website.
Cool, man. So this has been a fun conversation. We hope everybody has a great Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate. And we hope that everybody has a good year, and we will see you in 2025.
Yes, happy holidays to all. We will see you next year. And most importantly, we will see you in the next dimension. Take care.
Peace.